next morning, we learned that the ship had caused more than 200 people to be ice-skied, and there was also an ancient statue on the ship that had disappeared. ARUMA has now gone to school. At school, people fear and avoid him. In class, only one girl, Kana, is friendly towards him. That afternoon, when leaving school, he saw a young man being bullied but didn't bother to intervene. He then went to the river to collect stones, and Kana saw him, so the next day, she approached ARUMA again and invited him to join a club. When he refused, she invited him to go to the museum this afternoon. Her friend came to pull her away, not understanding why she was trying to be friends with ARUMA and even intending to invite him to the club. If he joined, the club would be in chaos because ARUMA had previously beaten someone to hospitalization. But Kana only saw that as a rumor and believed ARUMA was actually very gentle. That afternoon when leaving, ARUMA was blocked by a group that had sealed off all the areas leading to his house. Snipers were also positioned aiming at his house when he went inside. All of this was arranged by a young lady. She later came to find ARUMA. She is Ruri, and this butler is Kagami. Both of them also brought a masked demon in the car and came here to borrow power from ARUMA to destroy the stone demon, which had caused the ship explosion last night. If it continued to rampage, the casualties would be very high. When he refused, Kagami recited all of his information. 3 years ago, he had beaten 18 people into hospitalization and was suspended from school for half a year. His father had gone missing and his mother had died in an accident, leaving him to live alone. He burst out with power and was thrown into a corner by Kagami. The stone demon suddenly became active again. He wanted them to leave him alone and gradually grew a horn on his head. Ruri decided to leave, knowing that negotiations had failed. The demon mask wanted her to stop bothering ARUMA, lest he deal with all of them now. The demon mask now appeared on the street and turned everyone it shone on to stone. Kana and her friend were still waiting, but her friend decided to leave first while Kana still believed ARUMA would come. Ruri's people had now taken action and prepared equipment to stop the stone demon. The demon suddenly rushed in one direction. ARUMA sensed the demon and remembered Kana's words, so he knew she was about to be in danger and had to act. It was known that the demon was heading towards the museum because there was a stone displayed there that contained power to strengthen this stone demon. Ruri had sent people to the museum to evacuate the civilians. Kagami had tried to buy the stone, but the museum refused. Kagami had tried to buy the stone, but the museum refused, so he had to go into battle. Ruri still believed ARUMA would act when he saw the demon harming people. Kagami was now sitting in a robot and confronting the demon. He fired loads of missiles at it, but it didn't care and rushed straight at him. The demon was about to turn the robot and Kagami to stone when he managed to cut off its hand. It dropped its head and Kagami's control unit was damaged. The demon turned to target Ruri because of the stone she was carrying. This one was even more powerful than the one in the museum, so Kagami switched to the backup control unit and gave chase. ARUMA had seen Kana waiting for him at the bus stop when the demon rushed there and injured Kana. ARUMA truly became angry and burst out with power. The demon had aimed at Ruri and was about to swallow her when ARUMA threw it aside. He transformed into an armor and rushed to give the demon a punch and tied it up. His eyes kept glowing and he threw it far away from this area. He chased after it, attacking it and destroying the surrounding area as he fought. Kagami arrived and thought he was beyond saving, so he opened fire, but Ruri stood in front of him to stop him. She had demanded ARUMA to wake up, but he grabbed her and was about to attack her when he came to his senses and stopped. He said that once again, he had hurt others with this cursed power. He didn't want this power, but Ruri decided she would awaken his true power. The demon's head had eaten the stone from the museum. Ruri used the stone on her to help ARUMA master his power. He got a completely new armor, but now the demon's head had transformed and had a complete body, rushing towards ARUMA. He blocked its attack and threw it somewhere uninhabited. The demon mask informed him that he had to destroy its core. He created a weapon in his hand and rushed to punch that core. His weapon was a drill that pierced straight into the core and destroyed it. The remaining parts of the demon were then taken away by Ruri's people, but one fragment escaped. However, another demon turned that fragment into a sword and grew wings to fly away. The next morning, ARUMA went to school again and wanted the 3 bullies to go away, helping that young man escape. He then went to Kana's club and discovered that Ruri and Kagami had also come there. Ruri had bought this school and made Kagami the student council president. Ruri then renovated the school to make it beautiful. The food in the canteen was all high quality, but sold at very student-friendly prices. She thought that making the students here satisfied and accepting of the changes was enough, while the main task was just to eliminate demons. ARUMA now came to Ruri's office and saw the demon mask there. It saw him looking around as if he was a thief. Ruri and Kagami also arrived and told him that the thing that just called him a thief was a stone demon, but its main ability was to sense other demons, so she utilized it. It started to provoke ARUMA and even threatened to beat him up if it had a body. Kagami informed him about the power from the stone he absorbed from Ruri yesterday. 17 years ago, a meteorite fell to Earth, bringing with it 7 strange crystals with powers. It has the ability to cause mutations in the body, and he also has power from it, so his mother must have come into contact with one of the 7 crystals before. The demon mask was originally in a temple, but also became like this due to contact with one of the 7 crystals. Those who come into contact with the stone and lose control are called demons, while those who touch it and can control it are called warriors. Ruri wanted to rely on ARUMA's power because demons were gradually multiplying, but he told her to go find the army. However, the army couldn't fight against them, so he was the only hope she had. He remembered that she once wore a stone, but she had used it to save him, so he wanted to think for a while. Meanwhile, the fragment of that demon had escaped and was heading towards a military base. That black armor was also chasing but didn't want humans to see it, so it hid underground when detected. This military base had taken something onto a plane, and on the flight, the demon fragment made contact with what they were carrying and caused a big explosion in the sky. During this time, ARUMA and his 3 friends were at the river collecting stones. Kana remembered this was where she and ARUMA first met. But what ARUMA was looking for wasn't ordinary stones, but a purple stone of his that was once thrown into the river by a group, making him angry and burst out with power, sending them to the hospital. He then saw the wind rising fiercely. These fierce winds all came from the sea, so Kagami went with staff to check it out and saw stone demons in these clouds. It was known that a few days ago, a military plane had disappeared, carrying a missile warhead, and it seemed the stone demon had absorbed that and become like this. Kagami took a photo and returned to show Ruri. She could only hope for ARUMA. So Kagami then went alone to meet ARUMA and took him along. He led him to Ruri's mansion, and he was very shocked to see this huge mansion. Kagami took him to meet Ruri's older sister, who was imprisoned in a stone. It happened a few days after Ruri's parents were killed by demons. The stone that Ruri gave him was a keepsake left by her mother. Ruri had established this organization to eliminate demons in order to free her sister from the stone someday. Ruri came and slapped Kagami because she didn't want to use her sister as a reason to make ARUMA join, but he had decided to help her. He was then taken to the demon's cloud and had to skydive to fight. He was scared because this was his first time skydiving, and he didn't want to die. The demon mask mocked him for being a coward and told him to take it along. It would help him with the skydiving and fighting in the air. The plane was attacked by demons and started to sway, causing the demon mask to fall. He also fell, and Ruri had also jumped down without a parachute. The demon mask was swallowed by the demon below, while Ruri believed that he would help her defeat this demon. He activated his armor and took out a flying board to glide in the sky. The demon mask, swallowed inside, discovered the weakness of this demon. ARUMA at this point could only dodge and didn't know where to attack, and the demon mask pointed it out to him so he could take out a gun and shoot at that point, causing the demon to turn to stone and fall into the sea. He then brought Ruri back to the plane, and Kagami afterwards asked Ruri not to do such reckless actions like that again, but she believed ARUMA would protect her. While drinking tea, Kagami mentioned the demon mask, and she just remembered it was still in the sea and hadn't been retrieved yet. Not long after, Ruri went to England to buy a stone. The demon mask saw that she was spending quite a lot of money, but she was willing to trade it to eliminate all the stone demons in the world. Meanwhile, Kagami had people escort a man named Kenmi. Suddenly, the black armor appeared and attacked. This black armor aimed at Kenmi, but Kagami intercepted. Kagami was completely helpless against it, while it simply pulled the robot's arm and attached it to the ground, then aimed at Kenmi. He also had a stone and activated an armor for himself. Both of them rushed into battle while ARUMA was also on his way there. Suddenly, that black armor flew straight towards him. He started showing signs of eruption, and the person in the black armor realized he was similar to him. Kenmi rushed in to continue attacking, but the black armor here knocked him away and turned both sides into demons and tied Kenmi up. The helicopter came and fired bullets, forcing the black armor to flee. ARUMA at this point had transformed into an incomplete form due to not having Ruri nearby to help him control, but he soon returned to normal on his own. When returning to Ruri's mansion, we learned that Kenmi was a doctor. 2 people had escaped from his research institute. The one who attacked them today was originally a red-haired person named Kidima. He was using the power from the stone to commit crimes. He had discussed and taught him before, but he was too arrogant and unwilling to change, and now he was blaming that he had taken away his freedom. He asked Ruri for help in exchange for ensuring her and ARUMA's safety. Kenmi knew those 2 had taken away the medicine to prevent themselves from losing control and becoming demons, and the amount of medicine they had was about to run out, so they would definitely come to find him for more. That would be the time for him to catch them. Kidima had now returned to his lair and was given a dose of medicine by the little girl who escaped with him. They only had 1 more dose left, so they would have to go get more. The little girl wanted to go with Kidima next time to teach Kenmi a lesson, but Kidima knew Kenmi wasn't easy to deal with, not to mention
Maxibon Coconut Paradise è paradisiaco! È Maxibon!
he was also worried about ARUMA because he sensed that he carried an extremely large power. ARUMA was now sitting and thinking about what Ruri had said about Kenmi's organization. She had also come to the riverbank to find him, and he decided to follow her to see what Kenmi's organization was like. At this place, Kenmi was having people who had come into contact with the stones trained to use them in a useful way. Kenmi knew for sure Kidima would come tonight, and ARUMA wasn't sure they would be able to subdue him because, more than anyone, Kenmi was the one who understood Kidima's power best. The stone demon incident and the incident on the plane were all done by Kidima. If Kidima completely lost control and lost his human reason, they would have no way to defeat him, so he had to catch him before that happened. He really wanted to join the fight with them, but had to wait for his own armor to be repaired, so tonight he needed ARUMA and Ruri to be his bodyguards. Kagami would guard on the roof with the security team. Ruri then took the stone she had just auctioned and put it in the demon mask's mouth. It craved and wanted to chew it right away, but Ruri stopped it. Kidima really came. He flew in from afar, and the demon mask quickly sensed it. ARUMA also started to erupt, so Ruri offered him power from the stone. Kidima threw out stone demons to attack Kagami and the soldiers on the roof, then infiltrated inside. Kidima had entered the place where the medicine was stored, but this place was set with traps. High-temperature fire was released and burned him along with the medicine. Feeling hot, he hid in water, but was electrocuted. He escaped to another room where a girl was waiting for him and transformed. He didn't want to waste time, so he ran away, but she shot a net at him. However, Kidama could pass through it and escaped. He then pulled the demons back and charged up with them to find Kenmi. He was blocked by ARUMA, who wanted him to surrender peacefully, but he pulled him down and locked his hands to the floor. However, ARUMA also used power like him and followed. He thought that people with this power deserved freedom, not to become tools for humans. That girl came to gang up on him with ARUMA. He was kicked away by her, but quickly used his ability to pass through objects to escape. But ARUMA still clung to his feet. He called the demons to cause havoc and escape. Although he couldn't get the medicine, he had a new goal. The weekend came, and ARUMA thought he could stay home and rest today. After sleeping for a while, he realized he was in trouble today. He had to go prepare for the school festival. Ruri was now chilling, watching other students prepare. This was the first festival she had since becoming school president. She was so excited that she drank countless bottles of water. Seeing the mistress happy, Kagami also wanted to do something. Just as he approached, before he could speak, Kana's two friends came and thought they were disrupting, but both were called by Ruri for some help. Specifically, she wanted to record a speech. While talking, the demon mask shouted, causing Kagami to take it outside. He asked why, and it informed him that a demon had just appeared nearby. ARUMA still didn't know anything and was just casually preparing. The male students saw that he was also helping others prepare and started to mock, but only behind his back, not daring to say it to his face. Kagami and the demon mask had chased away the demon. Because it was quite small, the demon mask could handle it. But another one had infiltrated, and wherever it went, that place turned to stone. ARUMA had brought things and helped Kana set up to prepare. Kana found his height advantageous, but ARUMA thought sometimes being too tall was troublesome. Ruri also ran over, and Kana thanked her for lending the projector so she could present. ARUMA discovered the demon passing by, and Kagami and the demon mask also soon encountered signs of the demon and met ARUMA again. All three went into the meeting room, and Kagami wanted to deal with the demon with ARUMA without letting Ruri know, worried that she would cancel the festival for safety. If according to the demon mask's words, Kagami could handle the demon alone, while ARUMA just needed to keep Ruri away from the demon. Kagami went ahead, and ARUMA also wanted to use his power to deal with the demon quickly, but to transform, he needed Ruri's help, and if he asked her now, the school would definitely become a battlefield. But the demon mask showed him how to act in front of Ruri to get her to help him transform. He then called Ruri and asked her to meet on the rooftop to talk. She suddenly became flustered and blushed, causing ARUMA on the other side to break out in sweat. Meanwhile, Kagami had gone to the car and called the staff to tell them to sweep around the school and search for the demon, while also telling them to secretly bring weapons without Ruri finding out. ARUMA had now met Ruri, and both were stammering and not speaking. ARUMA boldly expressed his desire to use his power more skillfully and asked for her help. He tried to use some words the demon mask had instructed, but found it difficult and gave up. However, she thought helping him become proficient with his power was fine as it would help him protect people better. He then returned to the meeting room with Ruri, and she took out some small stones to help him transform. Although small, these stones were worth millions, shocking ARUMA. Just as he finished transforming, Kana entered. ARUMA stammered, not knowing how to explain, but Kana thought he was cosplaying, and with this outfit, she asked ARUMA to help advertise her speech. Kagami now had weapons and began the process of finding the demon. But on the way, he encountered the transformed ARUMA, so he decided to follow behind ARUMA. Suddenly, the demon spread throughout the school, making the two look like people in costumes chasing each other all over the school. When the demon ran outside, it split into two, forcing ARUMA to follow one of them. Kana's two friends called Kagami back at the gate, thinking he was in costume. He played along to deceive them and continued running, but they still followed. Kagami chased after the other one, and the one ARUMA was chasing had slipped through the iron pillars supporting a large sign. The people above saw ARUMA in costume and threw paint to tease him, causing the entire sign to fall. He had to run to catch it, and one person fell and was dangling up there. ARUMA told the young man to hang on, and the other two had somehow already come down. Kagami had finished dealing with the demon on his side and went to find ARUMA. At this point, ARUMA was forced to choose between saving the young man or revealing his power to both hold the sign and the young man. Due to hesitation, he let the young man fall and caught him, while the sign was later pulled up by Kagami's grappling hook. People now had a different view of ARUMA, and he went with Kagami to finish off the demon. It had crawled into a fireworks box and merged with a firework. ARUMA rushed to grab it and was about to use a weapon when his armor's time ran out. Kagami told him to throw it over, and he punched it a few times, then threw it into the sky when he saw it was about to explode. The demon exploded into fireworks, and Kagami's staff said to cut, pretending this was a film shoot. They then had to tell Ruri the truth. She agreed to let it go, but wanted them not to do this again in the future. And so the day of the festival arrived. Many people came to participate, and Kana's presentation only achieved second place, losing to the literature club. But anyway, that day was very enjoyable. Not long after, Kana's rock collecting club was treated by Ruri to a one-day camping trip. The girls were chatting excitedly while ARUMA was lost in thought, causing Ruri to tease him. She was also very happy to be going with him today. While climbing the mountain, Kana said that there was a stone god shrine nearby, and the believers had built this mountain like a pyramid to worship that stone god. Everyone laughed it off as it sounded quite nonsensical. ARUMA looked at the mountain, and it did look like a pyramid, and he suddenly felt something but still ignored it and continued on. While the girls went to play at the sea, Kana went to collect stones from the stream. Kagami was preparing food when he saw ARUMA had run off. He brought the demon mask and informed Kagami that he sensed stone demons nearby, as every time he looked at the mountain he felt chills. The demon mask said the one in the mountain this time was an ancient type, and he wasn't sure what form it was. Suddenly Ruri returned and informed the group about the entrance to the mountain she had found. The girls wanted to go in and explore, but ARUMA sensed the demon inside. Kagami then stopped Kana and wanted them to go back for barbecue and explore later. The girls went back first while Kagami prepared equipment to explore on his own. He was equipped with a special cannon with extremely high power but could only fire once. Kagami didn't trust leaving Ruri with ARUMA, but in this case he had to leave Ruri with him. Kagami then went into the pyramid with the demon mask and started scanning the path to make sure they wouldn't get lost. The demon mask would be a sensor to help him know when he would encounter the demon inside. Looking at the architecture, they both knew this place was actually built and not naturally formed. The demon mask was rambling when it suddenly became serious because small stone demons had arrived. The girls later wondered where Kagami was and were told he had an urgent matter and left early. Kagami had now dealt with all the minions, and the demon mask said there was one left in the heart of the mountain that wasn't moving. Suddenly, the demon mask changed expression, and the mountain began to shake violently. Ruri knew something had happened, so she ran off, forcing ARUMA to follow. They both then fell straight into a giant hole. According to the demon mask, the demon had suddenly awakened. Kagami, hearing that Ruri and ARUMA had fallen, became even more panicked. The support group has lost contact because Kagami has gone too deep. The demon mask can find Ruri, but getting there now is quite tiring because the demons inside have all awakened simultaneously. ARUMA wakes up at this time and goes to find Ruri, but suddenly steps on something. They all light up at once and transform into demons chasing him. The three girls on the other side have been evacuated from the danger zone. The support team notices that there is a magnetic field layer in the pyramid that prevents them from contacting Kagami or locating Ruri's position. Kagami has now followed the path indicated by the demon mask and found Ruri. He gets out of the robot to wake Ruri up and learns that ARUMA has been lost. Closes in, becoming smaller, and Kagami continuously battles the small demons. ARUMA is trying to find and deal with the small demons. At this point, Ruri wants Kagami to fire the cannon, but he's afraid of hurting her too. ARUMA then finds his way to the demon's egg storage, which happens to be below the room where Kagami and Ruri are trapped. The demon mask falls down and reveals that the two sides are separated by a wall. Kagami decides to break a hole in the ceiling so Ruri can help ARUMA activate his power. The demon has started biting the robot, forcing Kagami to act quickly. He also takes out the stone he brought for Ruri to activate ARUMA's power. ARUMA successfully receives the power, but now he must attack from below and cannot break the ceiling to get up. He uses a technique with power that pierces straight up and must carefully aim to avoid hitting Kagami and Ruri. He successfully strikes through to the top of the mountain, eliminating the demon and ensuring the safety of the two people above. The next day, upon returning, Kagami is disappointed in ARUMA because he promised to take good care of Ruri, but it turned out like this. So Kagami decides that when they return, he will train ARUMA to meet standards. Not long after, Kenmi has to leave to deal with a demon that has gone out of control. The demon continuously emits extremely high heat, but Kenmi still decides to fight it hand to hand and successfully defeats it. He then returns to the base with his arm severely burned and knows he will have to find stronger stones. Meanwhile, Kidama is going through a drug shortage. He lies curled up looking like an addict and remembers the time he was still locked in a cage, lying in there every day, and now being tied up and taken to the experiment table to be injected with a suppressive drug. He jumps up and runs to get the drug to inject himself to prevent losing control. But he sees the little girl he brought along trying to use her own blood to make serum for him. However, this serum is not strong enough, and if she continues, she will be in danger. Kidama decides he must go find a stronger serum source from Ruri herself. That day, while ARUMA is sitting and studying, a paper dart flies towards him. It's from Kagami and asks if he wants to have lunch together. But Kagami signals him to read the remaining piece, and the message is from Ruri. He blushes and asks the teacher to go to the bathroom. He hides on the rooftop and sleeps until noon when Ruri finds him and brings him lunch. But he's still shy, so he asks her to sit a bit further away. She keeps wanting to be close, causing him to say it's too troublesome. Ruri then thinks he finds her troublesome, so she sulks and leaves. Seeing that he doesn't hold her back, she turns around one more time to remind him before leaving. That afternoon at the club, while everyone is busy playing soccer, Kana's two friends keep bothering Kagami, giving him a headache. Ruri is pondering whether she's really troublesome or not. Kana feels a bit bored without ARUMA. At this moment, Kagami calls Ruri for a meeting, so they both leave early. When Kagami leaves, the two friends no longer want to stay. On the way back, Kagami complains about those two troublesome friends while Ruri is still preoccupied with what ARUMA said. Suddenly, Kagami almost hits someone, so he goes outside to check. This is the little girl who stays with Kidama, and he takes advantage of the moment when Kagami is outside to sneak into the car to kidnap Ruri and even smashes the demon mask. The little girl asks to leave, and when Kagami returned to the car, he discovered that his mistress had disappeared. He called the support team to locate her, but they had no signal because Ruri had been taken by Kidama